Hey Grace Church, it's Pastor Ryan. I want to share with you some thoughts from John 17. John 17 is Jesus' prayer to the Father through the Spirit on the eve of his crucifixion. And one of the things he prays is that those who would believe in him, us, that we would be one with him, that we'd have oneness. And he roots that in the Trinity's oneness, that the Father, Son, and Spirit are one, where he prays as Father, you are in me and I in you. May they be in us, that we would share in the oneness. And so in rooting that to the Trinity, I want you to consider, to ponder that from all eternity, God didn't exist as a solitary being in solitary confinement. He wasn't a monopersonal being. No, God has always been Trinity, Father, Son, Spirit. God has always existed as divine community. God is persons in relationship. From all eternity, the Trinity has existed in love. Near the end of his prayer, Jesus says that, Father, you love me before the foundation of the world. The Father has always, for all eternity, joyfully lavished his Son with love. Love is his identity. It's who he is. It is that which defines his character. God is not only loving, we can say he's a loving God, but he is love. Before he created and powerfully displayed his wisdom and power, he loved. His fundamental impulse is love. Now, if he was a monopersonal being, then his fundamental impulse would be power. We would see him break on the scene and create, and we would say, God is power. God is power. But before he's the creator, he's a father, a loving father. He is love. So let me tell you, maybe refresh you with, Christian, the fundamental impulse of God to you is love. Love. It should be the soundtrack of your life. It should be the song playing over and over and over again in your heart of, oh, how you love me. Oh, how you love me. Nothing can separate me from your love. You love me before time began. You hold me like a toddler in your loving arms, and your love won't stop and your love won't let go. And so I invite you this week to pause and delight in God's delight in you. Pause right now and delight in God's delight in you, that he loves you. Some of our hearts are cold. Some of us are in sin and have become hard-hearted. Some of us are doubting and in a fog, and yet he loves you. He delights in you. And you're like, well, I wrestle with that. It doesn't feel as if he loves me. Well, then go back to John 17 and anchor to the objective truth that Jesus, on the eve of his crucifixion, was praying for you. Do you see his care for you? On the eve of his crucifixion, he wasn't drinking wine to numb his pain. He wasn't trying to distract himself with other things and kind of escape what was going to happen. He wasn't asking his disciples to pamper him. He was praying for you, submitting to the Father for you, crying out on your behalf. And tomorrow, the next day, he'll die for the Father's greatness to be seen and celebrated, and for your salvation, for you to have eternal life, which he defined in verse 6 of John 17, to know God, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, who he sent. He loves you. Who dies for a friend? Who dies for an enemy. Jesus does. He loves you.